You know, it feels weird calling you Christian because every email and phone call and video conference and text, we refer to each other as Pep because of our affinity for the best show of all time, Tim and Eric. Awesome show, great job. We'll get into that a little bit more later. But
Great job.
so we got a lot to talk about. I don't know if there's anywhere in particular you want to start, but I'll just start with when did you first start teaching music?
Oh, it's really funny because one of my students today interviewed me for a school project.
Are you
get out.
interviewed out? Are you all totally wiped out?
Hey, I'm on the tour, man. I'm on the press junket.
Good.
I don't even know what junket means, but I'm on it.
Nice.
But first started teaching music. So, when I graduated college after studying music, I kind of worked jobs I hated, just retail. And I was a tech for T-Mobile for a minute. And
as
music was always...
Yeah, we all
What's
did.
that?
We did too. Lots of jobs we hated.
Yeah, and then like the music is like on the side and it's for fun and you make almost little to no money. And everyone would always say like, oh, well, you're so good at music. Why don't you teach? And I always said, I don't have the patience to teach music. And then
that's
I don't know.
Yeah, neither do I, which is odd that we're music teachers.
Here we are. Well, yeah, dude. I mean, as soon as I started the first time I taught was at a school of rock in Missouri. And it really happened fast that I didn't realize the kind of connection you could make with students and how, I wouldn't say easy, but how naturally I was able to convey musical concepts, the basics of instruments and composition. And then now mostly what I teach is theory. But it happened so fast. I ended up getting a management position there in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And then
running
bands. I mean, it kind of changed my life. And then, when I opened the school with Eric and with you guys, I mean, that was it. It was sort of like Purpose. And that's why I named my EP from 2 years ago, Purpose, because it was like, oh, well, I just found it, and, so I've been teaching for almost 11 years or so, but yeah, that's all I know these days.
Did you ever teach outside of School of Rock?
Nothing like official. Like I would show friends things, I'm sure we hear that all the time from people we interview too. I'm sure you do too. But
yeah.
But no, I mean, it just sort of clicked. I realized that I'm already a bossy, assertive person and like passionate and animated from Philadelphia, from Pennsylvania, just kind of like, do this, man, this is good.
Are you a type A personality?
What's that?
Are you a type A personality?
I mean, yes and yes. So yeah,
I taught at a local like mom and pop music store before School of Rock, and honestly I hated it because it was poorly run and it wasn't engaging for the students or me, and I stopped doing it. And then years later I'm like, you know what, I miss teaching, but I want to do it in a better scenario, and that's when I started working at School of Rock. So
Christian, when did you learn music? Like, how old were you when you decided that you liked music, or was your parents, or who did it? Who done it?
Yeah, that's a great question, because I didn't start. I'm self-taught on instruments for the most part, and vocals, I guess too. But I didn't start teaching myself guitar till I was 15, and it wasn't even on my radar. My mom has played piano since for most of her life, and so music was always around. But I was an athlete. I was playing basketball, soccer, baseball. I was getting into martial arts and boxing and stuff. And then my buddies, I call them up. I'm like, hey, where are you guys? And they're like, oh, we just left the music store. And it's saying this now seems crazy to my brain, but I literally was like, why? Why would you ever go to a music store?
And you were 15?
And yeah.
That's funny.
So I pulled an old guitar out of the closet and I started teaching myself, just making noise on it. And of all those guys, I'm the only one who's stuck with it, and obviously made my life of it. But
Yeah,
um,
dude, that's
but yeah, I
that's
was
awesome.
late teens.
You turn your students into insane prog metal prodigies. Did you start out being into prog metal, or was there something else before that you were really into?
So, something I teach my kids is I call it the ladder of musicality and complexity. And each rung represents, as you climb up the ladder, like your progress and passion, I guess. And so at the bottom rung, you got nursery rhymes, right? Like everything has its purpose. You could literally trace my way up the ladder. I've always been a type of person that's drawn to quality rather than I like it, so that makes it good, which is, I think, how most people view things. Like, I like that movie. That means it was a good movie, or, something like
Yeah,
that. For me, it's always been, this is impressive to me.
yeah,
And then once it stops being impressive, I'm looking for more. So, no, I started with, let's see, who did I like? When I first started, it was like Weezer, uh, Blink 182, Alanis Morissette, Nirvana, Pearl Jam. Then I got into, then I moved on to like Zeppelin, Ozzy, Iron Maiden. And then it was Metallica for like a solid year. It was an obsession.
Yeah.
oh yeah, me
Um,
too.
yeah. Yeah. And then it was Dream Theater. Once I discovered Dream Theater, I saw a DVD of them. I watched 6 songs and I thought two things. One, how can anyone physically do this?
Yeah,
And two, how do they mentally know how to do it? And that was it. I was 17. In the next year, I ended up competing in 2 national guitar competitions, and then declaring a major in music theory. And it changed my life. It built who I am now. Um, and that opened the door to all these like just crazy virtuoso players. And then I figured out that, like, yeah, most of them dove into theory really hard and technique really hard. And so with my kids, it's like a special guiding them in a specific way that's like not necessarily discouraging them from playing other things or what they like, but like hey, if you do this technique a little cleaner, like this way, and then also go watch this video, or like check out this guy and
yeah,
see this, does that inspire you? And then I kind of just pushed them all in the deep water. And man, I would say 90% of the kids that have come through on my roster, they responded to it, and they kind of rose to the challenge.
dude, that's awesome. That doesn't happen at a lot of music schools. Like your kids outplay most students I've seen over the years, and that's pretty remarkable. I'm gonna play a little clip because you sent me a bunch of clips of you jamming, so I'm gonna throw one of those up there right now. It's got to take a lot of discipline to get to the point you've gotten, not only on guitar but just as a musician in general. And you're into like martial arts and stuff like that too, so it just speaks to your discipline as a person. What got you into martial arts? When did you start doing that?
So that was definitely all my dad's influence. Sorry, can you hear the dogs barking?
Yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Adds a little ambiance.
They're the worst guards in the world. Puppies, lie down, please. But yeah, my dad, did martial arts in the 70s, and he was a wrestler. He did some boxing. So I was definitely watching boxing from an early age. We just lost Big George Foreman a few weeks ago, and
Yep.
I actually got to watch him win the title in '94 at the age of 45, and that was like a huge moment in the house. And so yeah, I kept that going, and then I basically just kind of was like studying different Taekwondo forms, and then I did some Southern Hungar Kung Fu. Just kind of, and then I would like privately study just like Jeet Kune Do from Bruce Lee, and got super interested in just different ideas and techniques, and then I found my way back to boxing, and then I ended up training in a few different gyms with a few pro fighters. That was pretty cool, and it didn't last very long. And then when Christy and I started getting serious, it was like, all right, it's like I don't think she wants me to be a punching bag.
So you don't do martial arts anymore?
No, I haven't. Yeah, I haven't even been in a boxing ring in probably 10 years.
Wow.
I did some sparring and stuff in the last decade, but nothing serious. And I still have my book of Taekwondo forms and stuff like that. But
you still have the skills.
Exactly.
So don't mess with Christian.
Yeah.
That's
yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll see. No, I mean, I still hit the heavy bag. So like, I know I can hit kind of hard, but yeah, just run around me a few times. I'll probably get winded and want some tenders. So.
nice. What's your practice regimen for guitar? Do you practice daily, or what's that like?
Honestly, it's a lot different these days since running the school. So, when I was first teaching myself in the early years, and I tell the kids this all the time, that I just always had an instrument on me. It was, okay, I'm hanging out in the living room, noodle, 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 noodle. Okay, we're doing this, noodle, noodle, noodle.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah. And like you walk by a piano, you better sit down and play for at least 30 seconds. Every time you walk by a piano, it doesn't matter. It was just, so now these days it's more of like a cram session, because most of my time is spent, dealing with School of Rock stuff. So when I have to relearn this material to record and release, oh man, it's like if I was teaching the hardest lesson in the world, and I have to get it down faster than you could imagine. Like, it's a cramp session. There was some stuff in the studio that I learned on the spot and just laid it down. But
that's crazy, dude. Like every instrument on your albums is just insane. At like the most insane like level of musicianship possible.
It is.
I can't even imagine. Like all the albums that we've recorded, like we have to go back and relearn them when we play them live, and it's daunting for me to do that. But yours is like way up here, and I'm like, dude, I couldn't even play that at all. Never mind if I had to relearn it.
Talk about having patience. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something. Well, and thank you for saying all that. I mean, luckily, from an early point of composition, it's all on sheet music. I put every note down so that when I went back to relearn, because I don't know if we're going to talk about this later, but my first two albums and the EP Purpose, Creation 1, 2, and Purpose, man, that stuff was all written between 2002 and 2010. And then I had to go back and relearn 2.5 albums worth, and we released all three within a year and a half.
Oh my God.
So thank God for sheet music, because I mean, like, I was basically just reading it off the page, and then drilling it as much as I could. And yeah, it was brutal. It was a second job and then some, I would say. I think Christy, my wife, would agree to that, and how much time it took.
Dude, I can imagine. That's just insane. Just coming up with that stuff in the first place is just phenomenal. Like, it's just a masterpiece. When did you start? When did you start writing and releasing original music?
So yeah, I started writing fairly early on. I really was just, like any young musician, you're just kind of like, oh, check this out, I just came up with this. But again, once I really started taking it more seriously, once I found Dream Theater, I was like, all right, I'm going to write things that make sense, that are difficult for me to play, that are interesting and creative. And I didn't always know what that meant yet, but I was like, I would pick up on things from these bands and musicians that I loved. And I would be like, okay, well, they did this. What if I tried something like that? And that was kind of how I got started in, like I said, 2002 or three. And then it kind of worked. It moved kind of fast. So something I didn't mention earlier is my brother, Harry, started teaching himself drums like pretty soon before I started guitar. And he got really good. And he's a phenomenal drummer. And so he and our band was Ships of Adamant, which is my new album. It's kind of a nod to our old days.
Nice.
So we released a 4-song demo in the summer of 2004. So we moved kind of quick with that. And then I kind of sat on all the material until I worked out a deal with the great James Randolph. And he engineered Creation One, and we finally got stuff released in 2022 and 23, and then now Ships of Adamant in 25.
So that came out a couple of weeks ago.
April 4th.
April 4th. And that's your third studio album.
Yeah, third full length.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's insane, dude. It's so good.
Yeah.
And I was saying to you before, your first two albums, you were obviously like dove hard into the, guitar and the musicianship and stuff, but on this album you really went deep on vocals too. Like your vocal harmonies and just the musicianship that you applied to vocals, that not that it wasn't there in the first two albums, but it's really taken a step forward on this one.
It takes you on an entire journey listening to your album. It really does. And it reminded me of Yes, the band Yes. Like it just takes you on a total, like you can just like.
Christian's a music snob, so that's not a compliment to him.
Yes?
No, no, but I get it. And a lot, no, because I do like some Yes as well. And they're a huge influence on a lot of the modern bands that I like.
No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I was like, what's wrong with Yes?
No, I love Yes too, but I know you're like a deep prog metal dude, so like that's
Yes is like not even touching the surface of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they definitely have their moments, and some of those I do think. To be fair, I do think a lot of my stuff has a similar sound to some of the classic prog stuff.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah.
Like Yes and like Kansas. I even think some of my vocals sound like the Eagles. Like like some of those weird like falsetto harmonies. I'm like, I didn't mean to do that, but okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, hell yeah. So did you say you grew up in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, so I was born in New Jersey, and we lived there for a little bit, and then I lived in Pennsylvania for most of my childhood.
Nice.
And then moved to. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What brought you to Missouri after that?
Oh boy. So
you're like, there's a story with this one.
No, it's just. So my dad spent many years of his life in Missouri. I have other family out there, and he went to a college out there. And so, growing up, it was a given. You have to go to college. You have to go to college. You have to go to college. And it's not that I was.
You too?
Yeah. So, and it's not that I wasn't interested in school. I just, when something's just a given, I just kind of like, okay, that's fine. But I didn't apply myself, in a way that's like, all right, what are my options? What's the best way? I just said, hey, my brother is going over to the school that my dad went to. That's where I'm going. And so what happened though, is 2 years into school, my family moved out there permanently. So then I got stuck in Missouri for 12 years.
And you were itching to get out the whole time, right?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I had some really good times, and like I gigged with bands out there, and that's where I met my wife and stuff like that. But
cool.
Yeah, the first opportunity that came, we were like, let's leave.
Is there like nothing to do in Missouri? I've never been to Missouri.
I mean, different people will tell you different things. Like I'm sure if my parents watch this, they're going to be like, you're like, we love Missouri, but, but I mean, there were things to do if you went a little ways. Like one of my favorite things that I was doing in college, was we would drive down to Arkansas and we do like rock climbing, and
Nice.
you could do floating and stuff. But in the immediate vicinity, I mean, it's eat, drink, and talk about each other. It's like,
Oh, that sounds like Connecticut.
Yeah. It really does.
Yeah.
And then
that's funny.
what brought you to North Carolina after that?
So my brother, when he got married, her family is from here.
Okay.
And so they started having kids, and then they moved over, and then my parents followed, my sister followed, and then we were finally like, you know what? We had visited a couple times, and I really liked it here, so we were like, let's just go. We're going.
How did we end up working together? Did you like submit a resume or something like that when you moved, or did Eric reach out to you? I don't remember how.
No, so
How do I know you?
like, where do I know you from? You look familiar.
What? Wait, what?
Wait. Oh boy. So I was working at School of Rock in Springfield, Missouri. And then when I moved, I had already laid the groundwork with Charlotte. When we
That's right.
visited,
Yep.
we went and saw them, and they were super nice, super welcoming. So in my interview with them, Jill mentioned that there were dudes from Boston or something opening a school up north, and I was like, cool. I remember going home to Christy and being like, why did she tell me that? Like, I don't even. I was like, I wonder if she has me in mind for something.
Yeah, you don't want to work here. You want to work there.
Yeah. But no, Jill was awesome to work for in that Charlotte school. I really liked the community they had there. I don't know what it's like now, but that's neither here nor there. But Jill recommended me to you guys, and you guys had interviewed a certain person. I don't think I'm going to say their name, but it was, we'll call him. Oh, wow.
Yeah. Let's. That is a very funny story, but let's not tell it.
So, but then I actually ran into Eric at a concert. It was like at a bar, and we chatted. We ended up chatting the whole evening, and then we had the official interview. And Phil was not on the call, so it was just you, and the three of us chatted. And then you made me wait 6 days, which was the longest 6 days of my whole life, feels like. And then Eric called me.
Sorry
and he
about
offered
that.
me the
Nice
the
going.
That's awesome. No, it's been great, man. Like that just speaks to your work ethic, and going back to like your dedication to teaching and your discipline when it comes to like learning music and teaching music, and just not only that, but just being an overall like leader and making a great environment for students and staff and stuff like that. It's definitely been a pleasure working with you. So
Let me
thank
put it
you,
to you
and
this way.
likewise.
Let me put it to you this way. Sean doesn't talk about anybody or work or anything. He's kind of like his son. You're like, so what's going on? Everything cool? Yep. What's new? Nothing. And he's always talking about you. So that's gonna tell you something right there, because he doesn't talk about
That's awesome.
anything or anyone. He's in his own world all the time.
yeah, that's pretty much true.
Well, I tell you what, man. I mean, down here, I think anyone can attest. I say the same things pretty much every day, that I couldn't ask for anybody better to work for, and that I think I say all the time how similar Sean and I are. That like I think we approach things in a similar way, and we've dealt with similar frustrations. We have similar strengths. We have the same sense of humor.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, and not
but
many
like that-
people do. A lot of people think like we're just really weird, right? You know,
Yeah.
which we are, but
Yep.
not a lot of people have this sense of humor. We're realizing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's nuts. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's good stuff. But yeah, it's just I think if there was ever any doubt for me, like in this position, or like where I am in my life, I always go back to like, yeah, but I mean, Sean and Phil are right there. They're like, you're my support system. Like I mean, I remember one time I was having the worst day and I was just like, they're going to fire me. Everything's horrible. This is terrible. And it just took one phone call with Sean that lasted like maybe 8 minutes. And I was like, I feel better about everything. So, so yeah, I
Well,
mean, it's definitely been a great decade.
no, it definitely helps that we're on the same page about pretty much everything. So
Yeah,
it's very
for
cool.
sure.
And that's not something you find that often with people that you work with.
Right.
So it's very cool. Um, so your new album has Leo Marguerite playing drums on it. How did that come about?
Oh my God. So first of all, Leo, you are
Oh, my bad.
like,
I pronounced it wrong.
I
Leo.
don't, hey, I do I don't know. I mean, either way, but yeah, just phenomenal. I'm blown away by the job he did. But um, when I had the bulk of my kids that were on my roster, just like crushing things and getting super passionate about everything, we were doing like little meet and greets, whether it was official or unofficial, or like just hanging out with bands after a show. Because all these prog guys, they're the best musicians in the world who don't really have huge followings, so they're pretty
Yeah.
accessible. So I mean, we've hung out with bands just at the merch table, and just for a lot of people, it's like, oh, cool, like some band no one knows about. But for us, it's like meeting your heroes.
Right.
Right.
And so I reached out to Pain of Salvation, and which is amazing. Like, it still blows my mind that how blessed I've been, because they were instrumental in my musical journey too. Like, Harry and I would listen to Pain of Salvation in the college dorm, and I would just be like, that's the greatest melody I've ever heard. That's, like, and
Yeah.
then yeah. So I reached out to them, and I had Leo's information. So I reached out to both, and he responded within an hour and was
Wow.
like, yeah, dude, we'll set something up. We'll meet the kids. Dude, they brought us in. There were like 15 of us, brought us in. We got to watch their sound check. They did a little performance for us. And then they came and hung out with us. Then we all went outside and hung out. I was the one that had to kind of stop the meet and greet, because we could have hung out the whole night. But I was like, I feel so bad. You guys got to get ready for a show. like
That's
you're about to
awesome.
perform. And they're just like, they were so friendly to the kids. So Leo and I stayed in touch, and I just kind of hit him up, and I just put a feeler out there like, hey, what would it take for you to play on my new album? And he reached out very quickly and said that would be my pleasure. Let's work something out.
That's
And
awesome.
he's been amazing. So yeah,
That's
still can't believe it.
no, that's a great. Just he did a phenomenal job on the album. I mean, he's an amazing drummer to begin with, but the stuff he did on there really is mind blowing.
After I was done ranting and raving about you, I was like, so who played that? That's the first thing I asked you after I was done, like, talking about how awesome it was. I was like, who played drums?
Yeah. No, it's
I thought it was you. I was like, he does all of that?
Yeah,
Oh my
I can
God.
only play. Yeah, I can play beginner to maybe the scratch of intermediate drums. Like, and I can fake my way through tough songs.
Me too.
Um, yeah, you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah.
the structure, the idea, so you can kind of fake it.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm still an
but
intermediate drummer. I don't even know if we call it that, but no, I know what you're saying. Yeah,
yeah,
it was real. It's
but
we had that same experience. Like I talked to you a little bit about before, like bringing our students to shows and setting up meet and greets with bands. Like we did that with Tenacious D, with Jack Black and Kyle Gass, and Queens of the Stone Age, and
Heart.
Heart, but Heart was cool too. But specifically, like Tenacious D and the Queens of the Stone Age were so inviting to the students. Like had them come up on stage, played
Yeah.
their sound check, specifically just for the students. Like they were the only ones in the building. Brought them up on stage, talked with them. They really went out of their way to make the students feel special and welcome. And it's really refreshing when you see artists that do that, because why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
That's your lifeline to being a performer. Like
Exactly.
Right.
you're building relationships with fans or potential fans. Like I get it that not everybody can do that all the time because some people's schedules don't allow it, but it's really nice to see bands that do that. And in your case, like it went a step further and Leo played on your album. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and that's super cool to hear, and I'm glad that your kids got to do that because that sounds like an unbelievable experience, and School of Rock does open those kind of doors that I think that there are people out there who recognize the dedication we put in and how impactful and how impressionable these kids are to that kind of thing, that they get to meet someone at that level and
Yeah.
chill with them. I mean, to meet Jack Black being in a School of Rock, that's crazy.
Right.
That's
Right.
Speaking
that's what's up.
speaking of comedy, I want to touch on this subject for a second.
I don't know
So-
where you're going with this.
So I don't know of anybody that knows the show Tim and Eric. So I already loved you before Sean told me like about you, because all he had to tell me was that you loved Tim and Eric. Because everybody I ask about Tim and nobody even knows about that show. Is it like an underground like for crazy people or like
No, I don't think so. I mean,
No.
I think a lot of people know who they are.
a lot of people I
think
know,
the last part of your sentence is true. It is for crazy people, but no, I mean, it was what was it, Adult Swim?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, there was a ton of those shows that you find the right person, they're going to know them all. I know for me, my bandmates in the band I gigged with in Missouri, Call Me Beta, they were always watching that kind of stuff. So I think that was
That's
the
where you-
first time I saw it, and they would like act like they'd be like, they would like they would do that stuff. I'd be like, what is that? And they'd show me. I'd be like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah. And
then
over the years, I've tried to like get other people into it by showing them clips, and everyone's just like, "Yeah,
Yeah, we've tried to recruit so many people that we actually thought would really find it as funny as we do, and people were just looking at us like, I don't get it.
yeah." I think it's not that they're underground; it's that there's a lot of people that just don't get it
Yeah.
or don't want to.
Yeah, like absurdist humor, man. It's not for everyone, I guess, or you have to have a really I don't know, because I like looking behind the comedy too. So like I just know what it must be like for Tim Heidecker and Eric Wareheim to like come up with this stuff, and I'm like, I want to be in the room with them.
Yeah.
Right?
When they're like,
Dude, it's like
"Oh."
it's got to be the most fun experience ever. Like you just
Right.
come up with dumb ideas and just act them out and just act crazy. Like what's more fun than that?
And make fun of yourself while you're doing it.
Did I
Right.
send you the Kyle Mooney album that just came out? Did you
I
hear
don't
that?
think so.
Oh, I'll
No.
remind me if I forget. I'll send it to you later. It's hilarious.
Okay.
Scott sent it to me, and it's same vein of humor.
Literally, a dream of mine come true is to write a song with them, like in the same room. Come up with the song,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, like Rolo Tony Browntown or I'm pretty
Yes.
sure the first day I met Sean, I walked by him. We had just met. I think you were on the porch, and I walked by with Eric, and I just go, petite feet, feminine step. And I heard you laugh, and I was like, oh, does he like Tim and Eric? And Eric is like, yo, he does.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's how you know it's our kind of people. We will base it off of fart jokes and Tim and Eric. That's my kind of
There
people.
it is.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know how this affected you, but like the new album that we're releasing is we wrote it over the past 10 years, but a lot of the lyrics we wrote during and after the pandemic, and a lot of it is kind of influenced by that. How did the pandemic influence your approach to creativity or just life in general?
That's interesting. So as far as like, if I were to get to specifics, my lyrics are all inspired by concepts brought about in my favorite films, because that's my second largest passion is movies. And although there's a personal touch of like conviction and philosophy, and that's why they're so preachy. But outside of that, I actually stay away from like personal, I don't know if you want to say anecdotes or like personal thoughts. I mean, obviously they're my philosophies and convictions and whatnot, but so as far as that goes, and as far as writing music, I mean, if anything, it lit a fire to finally get stuff recorded.
Yeah, us too.
Um,
Yep.
yeah.
Well,
So
the other part of it is that everyone had time to record because you couldn't do anything else.
Yeah. No kidding.
yeah, I was actually pretty good about keeping my routine similar. That when I, because especially since you have to consider, I just fully took over the school like 2.5 months prior to it hitting.
Oh boy,
So
that's rough.
I still had a full teaching schedule, and I was now in charge. And so I spent most of my day, like my daily routine during the stay at home was like uh, get up, work out, eat, and then go upstairs and teach lessons and run rehearsals. And then I would be done. I'd cook dinner and hang out like a normal night. And then I would, maybe work on this or that. And then I actually went on a fitness journey during the pandemic. So like 2020 from June to November, I lost like 40 some pounds.
Wow.
And I was playing basketball all the time, working out all the time. And that was like my main focus outside of the school. And then I tore my calf. So
Oh no.
Oh,
yeah, so then it went back to, and then again that next year is when the fire sort of was lit that like, yo, let's get this music done.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was quite a journey, but I mean honestly the biggest thing was just making sure the school was okay. That was I was really nervous about that this thing was going to shut down the career that I finally found, and
Yeah, we all were. That was rough.
yeah. Yeah, man, and the fear, like I don't know if you lost anyone, but we lost people at the school, man. We lost parents
Did you really?
and yeah. We had one kid, obviously no names, but one kid lost both his parents within a week.
Oh my God.
Um, so I mean, yeah, it was rough. So I was trying to be like really careful, but also really like I was trying not to be a dictator with it. Like, hey, we need to get back to the school. We need to keep playing music, but we need to be careful. And it was this weird balance that I know you had to deal with too. And it was,
we did.
but yeah, I mean,
We did experience
sorry, go
some
ahead.
family, a
Yeah.
lot of family and friends that passed, but not students. Your students are my clients, but family and friends around us. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was it was brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people forget that, but
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we just didn't know a lot about it early on. So there was no real way to anticipate what to do, what was right and what's wrong. And everybody's arguing over it. But through the whole process, I feel pretty good looking back about how our group you and me and the other schools handled things. And yeah, and then we came out of it and we didn't really miss a beat. Like our student count went down, but then we brought it back up. So
Yeah.
kids still played shows, and we had a venue. Boatyard has been amazing to us since then. They have the outdoor stage. And so yeah, my life has been pretty consistent, just kind of it was just another thing to deal with kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I tried not to let it rattled me at first, but it put like internally,
Yep.
but then I just tried to be like, okay, it's just part of life now. Let's keep going.
Yeah. No, that I don't know if the pandemic had anything to do with it or not, but prior to the pandemic, like the albums that we released prior to that, like you, movies were my biggest inspiration for lyrics. And I don't know if it's just because I got older or if the pandemic had anything to do with it or not, but for this new album, movies weren't an inspiration at all. It was just personal stuff. Did you?
Because I think because everybody had sort of a hard reset about like, I don't know. I think a lot of people feel this way. Like they really actors and movies and stuff. They like nobody could relate to them at that time because we were all going through our own like mess. I feel like
Yeah,
it's
the
weird.
majority of the lyrics I wrote prior to the pandemic were inspired by horror movies. And now I still enjoy and appreciate horror movies, but they don't influence my creativity as much as they did before. I don't know if maybe the pandemic had anything to do with that, like it hit too close to home or something like that, but in any case,
Mm.
do you have a favorite song that you've written?
I think so. I think so. It's funny, some of the old stuff I really love, and I would put a lot of that higher than I think other people would. But on this new album, anyone who's watching this, you need to listen to Die a Hero, the final track. It's 16 minutes long. It features the vocals of Emporia, a band made up mostly of graduates from my roster at School of Rock. Um, and Natalia Wilcox also sings on it. She used to be a part of Emporia. Um, and they also do guitar and synth solos on it. And I believe that is my magnum opus. I'm very, very proud to have that kind of song that's rhythmically challenging. It's melodic. It has three different types of refrains or choruses, and it's got an instrumental section, but then it's got an opera section. And so, yeah, it's definitely my favorite thing, I think, right now.
Dude, it's
Anyway.
got to be so rewarding to have your former students working with you and just creating awesome uh, uh, music. That's really
Yeah,
cool.
it's very special, and I'm very proud of all of them, and I'm very happy with the work that they've done, and they're most of them are in school for music right now, so it's really cool to see that as well. So
Yeah, I mean,
I was
they've all like a good chunk of your former students have gone on to become professional musicians and study music and go on to be professionals, and that's something not everyone can say, you know.
Yeah.
right on. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know if I'm allowed to ask you questions, but I wanted to ask, what is your song Stygian Night about?
Again, just horror movies, inspired by horror
Okay.
movies.
That's
Yeah,
that's all he used to write about.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
All of yeah,
'Cause-
the first however many albums we had, four or whatever. Uh, the majority of the lyrics are inspired by my favorite horror movies.
That's cool.
And this new album, not one.
None.
Sean
Is
said
it
in one of I actually interviewed Sean on my channel like last summer, I think it was, right?
Yeah.
And I think you said, I think if I'm not mistaken, you said something like, I related to horror movies because everything's going so crazy and wrong. Is that what you said?
Sounds like something I would say. Yep.
That's amazing.
But no, maybe that speaks to why I don't really find
You don't
inspiration
relate.
in that anymore. Is that maybe the pandemic helped me realize how well off I have it compared to a lot of other people. Um, and I just, I feel blessed to do what I do and to work with you and all the other staff and students and everything. And I don't know. Plus I'm getting older too, so like I don't. I'm on the back end of life, so I I appreciate everything more, and I want to do as much as I can with the time I have left. And I don't know.
Right.
That's way too philosophical. Let's get on to something more fun.
I like it though. And honestly, Sean, you could chalk it up a little bit to like, since you've done that before where that's how you were writing lyrics as an artist, you're probably like, well, I'm going to do something different now. Sort of innately, you're kind of naturally leaning towards a new approach just in general.
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
and
that's
then mix that with everything going on and you getting more perspective and being older, then yeah, for sure.
yeah, and that's one of the reasons too why it's been 10 years since we released an album, because that was right around the time that we started working with the schools, and that kind of took over my life. And that's not the only reason, but it definitely delayed our ability to write and record and release and play music. But it also gave us time to sit back and gain more perspective on like what we want to say and how we want to say it and that kind of stuff. So I don't know.
Right on. Yeah.
Two old farts just sitting here
Yeah.
thinking about life.
Yeah. I mean,
What is the new stuff out?
so I guess when this comes out, it'll be the previous week. So April 18th, we just released a new single, and we're gonna follow your method of doing a few singles and then doing the whole album.
Nice.
Yeah. So looking forward to that.
Do we have a game? Did we put a game together for Christian?
Oh yeah, we did.
Uh-oh, Pep.
Oh boy.
We got a game for Pep.
Every guest that we have on, we play a little game with them at the end. And the game that we came up with for you is we're going to say a quote from Tim and Eric, and you have to tell us which character said it.
Wow, that's tough.
Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the first one. You blew it.
That sounds like Tim.
You are correct. It is Tim.
Okay, you blew it. Capiche?
What else does he say? You're a pig, hun. You blew it. Is that what he says?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when he's the boss.
Yeah.
You're a pig.
The
hun.
bald boss.
You blew it.
Okay, here's the next one. Ready? I want to meet that dad.
Oh. Do-do-do-do.
Yeah.
Come on, kids.
Do you know the character's name?
What is?
Oh, kids, why'd you bring that rotten meat in here? What is?
I told you, kids.
It's
I can't remember the dude's name.
it's Pierre. I had to look it up too.
Why would you bring that stinking rotten meat in here of all places? Do.
Okay.
Now feather those bangs. Okay.
Tell me about your dad.
Oh man. Okay, here's the next one. You know you're gonna love my clowns.
Oh God.
Oh, that's Will Ferrell at the clown outlet.
Yes.
And all of a sudden now that's not so funny anymore.
Yeah, they got
People don't find that one funny.
no. They
at
got a lot
all.
of they got a lot of shit recently for that
Oh
one.
yeah.
But in any case,
Well, it'll be funny forever to me. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
all right. Next one. Salome.
Oh man, that's David Liebe Hart.
Yes.
Does he still tour?
I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was
I'm
touring
pretty
with
sure
like
he
a
does.
he was touring with a punk band for a while, wasn't he?
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Salome.
Wait, let break for a minute. Did you ever see them when they've come live, when they've come around? Like Tim and Eric or any of the characters? Because I haven't.
No.
I know.
I've never been able to.
Well, listen, if they ever do, we need to all get tickets and go.
Yeah, no, I saw him at the Berkeley Performing Arts Center like maybe 10, 15 years ago. And I didn't
Wow.
expect it to be funny, honestly, because like there were sketch comedies, so like doing that live doesn't always work out well, but it was
Right.
amazing. It was hilarious. Okay. I got two more for you.
Okay.
Here's the next one. Kids say the darndest things like spaghetti and meatballs. You want to take a guess or no?
It could be James Quall.
Yes. Yes, you got
Okay.
it. It's James Quall.
Yep.
Okay, last one. Here we go. For your wine.
Oh, Dr. Steve Brule.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. We forgot the meatball lady. What was that one?
I don't remember. I don't know what her name was.
That was hilarious.
The
The
three bl-
meatballs.
the three blind mice lady?
Yeah.
That was good. All right. Well,
Oh.
anything else? So we'll put links to your album and all of your music on the description for the podcast. Anything else you want to throw out there before we wrap it up?
Man, oh man. Well, I appreciate you guys having me, and it's been fun. And
What's your advice
yeah,
to anyone listening? What's your worldly advice?
do you want a serious worldly advice, or do you?
Whatever comes to mind.
Do better. Be better.
That's true,
Be
right?
stronger. Be smarter. And yeah, don't don't uh, don't accept this lack of culture in this world that we have right now as the norm.
Yeah,
Amen.
yeah, dude. There's so many pitfalls now with people addicted to social media and just uh, going
Lack
crazy.
of ethics.
Yeah, going crazy with
Yep.
this and that. So it's really, you know, you like you're a great example because you do what you're passionate about, and you have a great work ethic, and you have positive goals, and
You're a leader.
you're a leader, and you're just doing what you love, and providing a great environment for the people around you. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you for
Well,
doing
thank
this.
you so
and
much.
we're happy we got to do it this time because the first time we weren't able to do it and we wasted your time. So
Yeah, sorry about that. But
No, not at all. Not a big deal. I do have to ask, did you watch any of the footage that I left for you when you left the room?
when yes. Yeah, that was, maybe we'll throw some of that on here.
I was gonna say, I was like, I wonder if he's gonna use that.
Well, yeah, I'll check it out and see if we can work it in somewhere.
Beautiful.
All right, Christian, thanks
thank
again.
you so much.
Thank you.
This was fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, until next time.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, Pep Pep.
See ya.